Hello and welcome to Athena's Creations 2017 on YouTube. Hopefully, I'm actually live currently. It's November the 14th and it's a Thursday, and I am in Athena's Creations in our private Facebook group, where I'm going to share with you tonight and demonstrate for you not only these two amazing cards, but some outside the box fun as well. So I've got this paper pumpkin kit that I every month is a gift to myself. So I get the paper pumpkin kit and I go through and come up with some fun original ideas, thinking outside the box. Hey Sandra, I'm so glad you got to join me tonight. This is an amazing kit. The one thing I was going to do that I didn't get around to for this kit was one of the samples that Stampin' Up! Had shared using a beautiful photograph. So I'm still probably going to use that idea, and when I do, I'll share that later in a post. If I do this right, hopefully I will be able to upload this to YouTube after our live tonight, and that way we can share all these fun ideas with everybody else out there. Something I haven't seen yet is using the contents of this kit and making an ornament. And that was an idea I had as soon as I saw the preview for this kit. And I'm going to share all of that with you. And I think I have at least 2 or 3 cards, but most of the things I have that I'm going to share with you are definitely outside the box thinking. Every month, Paper Pumpkin gets better and better, and always the October and November kits are the best. And this is the October 2024 Paper Pumpkin Kit. It's called Nest of Christmas, and there's actually a stamp bundle suite in the mini catalog that features some, birdhouses and all the fun things and coordinating stuff that goes with it. Everything from Stampin' Up! Coordinates. So whether you have retired product, current product, it all coordinates beautifully. Now, I did have how shall I say this? I normally would have my laptop to my left so that I could see comments. But I opened it up at work at lunch today, and it was a green screen, so I'm not real sure what's going on. So I'm trying to remain calm because that's an alarming thing to have happen. So I just wanted to say that if I miss your comments tonight, always know that I will go back later and answer any questions that you might have. And I'm going to try and make sure that when I tilt down to our project tonight, that it'll be closer than I normally would have it. So maybe I can see some of the comments because it's all on my phone and I don't have my laptop to refer to. So, but again, thank you so much for joining me tonight. We're going to go ahead and dive right in. So let me turn the camera around just for a moment so we can get started. And I want to make sure that everything is in the camera here. So this is the ornament that I came up with using this kit and some other coordinating products. Love that everything coordinates so beautifully with Stampin' Up! And pardon me for just a minute as I maneuver this amazing device that's holding my phone for me so that I can create and share with all of you. Hopefully it's getting closer. Let's see. I think that might be it. Just gotta adjust my chair for just a second. Oh, it's right here. I was looking for the instructions for a minute there. I thought, uh-oh. I'm going to try to get this a little bit closer. This might be the closest we get. I'm so sorry about the delay. Okay. All right. This was an idea that I had for this paper pumpkin kit, using the contents of it and also using the, here's the instructions for it. This amazing kit that came out a couple of months back was part of the kit's sale last month. It's the Christmas ornaments kit. And so what I did was I decided to turn this month's paper pumpkin, some of the contents, turn it into an ornament. Now these fun little embellishments right here are, I believe, an online exclusive. Oh, here they are. And it's the cherry, cobbler, and pearl adhesive backed berries. So we've got like the single berries, and then we've got the triple. And I am actually going to use my blends to color in because I've used quite a few of these on some previous cards. I'm going to use the dark real red. I actually have a couple of the blends because as you use them, it's going to wear a little bit on the tip when you color it in. So I think real red is probably one of the blends I have a couple of sets of, just to, because I do use it quite a lot. And I'm wondering if I should just do this one first off, because this one to me, it's only a little challenging in tying the trim here. I just tied a double knot at the top, and it's really easy to put together. You've got room on the back that you could actually add more from the kit. You can add another bird. You could actually bring in a sentiment if you wanted. This makes great great gifts. I have a sister-in-law who, not that she has everything, but you know, somebody that you don't really know what to buy for them. She truly appreciates any handmade gift. And this is one of those that will probably go to her this year. She does enjoy handmade cards, and there's nothing like a handmade card. Now, this is an idea you can use again with any stamp set that you have. So if you have a retired cardinal stamp set, you could do the same thing. Now, I can't remember, I didn't look before we went live, but if this is unavailable, it should come back into stock, hopefully before Christmas. But we did have that big kit sale, so if you don't have this already, you know, the same idea and concept you can use using whatever supplies you have on hand. This would also be great to give to your mail person, a delivery driver, a neighbor, Secret Santa, lots of possibilities. So we're gonna go ahead and do that first. And it's important to follow the instructions on this one. I did want to share with you too, one of the reasons why my desk is not cleaned off is as I was creating the past couple of weeks, I had a couple of ideas and I just left them. So I haven't done quite anything with this stuff here. But I did have an idea with that vellum. And I had thought that I would, for an alternative, because I used part of the back of the card here, I was thinking the vellum, I was going to attach it to a white piece of cardstock and then just attach it to the front. And then I was going to, and again, it was just an idea. I hadn't quite finished it or completed it. But then using the add-ons, add-on dies, I was going to put two there, and then this one here, and then one of the nest of winter birds or something. But again, I hadn't quite completed that, but that was the idea that I had for that one. There's so many fun things out there that you can do for alternatives. Another thing that I was kind of contemplating was something using the deckled dies. So this is actually part of the stamp set that comes in the paper pumpkin for this month. Let me see, I put it in an envelope here. And so we are going to fussy cut one this evening for one of my alternatives. But this is kind of what I was contemplating, you know, having a little bling in here. You could, of course, you bring in the little note cards and envelopes. That's what this one is. You can stamp directly on there. Again, this was kind of an idea in progress. I didn't quite finish it, but I always like to share this stuff with you guys. because I am hoping to inspire you with all of your crafty fun. And then this one was, again, some ideas that just hadn't completed. And then, of course, this one, let me just show you. It's the add-on. I've got a little mess over here to the left. And this is the add-on for October, November, and December. And it says friend, and then it's got this like leaf, and then this right here. So this is part of that add-on for the paper pumpkin. It's the Merry Tags and More. I always put a little piece of magnet there so it'll stay put. And I used a couple of different colors, the Old Olive and Shaded Spruce. And these tags are fantastic. There's lots to be done with this fun set of cards. Like you've got these pieces here. This is actually what the cards look like. They're the card bases. It's like a threefold, a trifold, right? And so this comes from this piece here. And again, I was going to use it, some idea like this, using the note cards and envelopes. Lots of possibilities, in other words. But I've got quite a lot to share with you tonight already. And there's so much more that you can do with these kits, the paper pumpkins and stuff. And then this one, I had the idea to use a picture, a 4 by 5 1/4 picture to put in here, just like what they showed for the samples. Another beautiful trifold. And speaking of trifolds, another possible card that I was going to come up with, I just did some math. And I thought, okay, the biggest piece of cardstock I have is 12 by 12. And so what I did was, I did the math. I thought, okay, it's got to be able to fit into an envelope. Because I measured this one, it was like 12 and a half, right? Well, we don't have 12 and a half cardstock. So it's not exactly, but it's very close. So it's 12 by 5 1/2, and I scored it at 4 and 8. Again, another idea that I was working on the past couple of weeks, and I just didn't finish it, but I wanted to share with you, you could do a trifold card yourself. We've got 12 by 12 cardstock in all the colors, and I'm always inspired with the paper pumpkin kits because they have great fun designs. Last summer, I think it was summer of 2023, they had a brand new to me fun fold in that kit, and I did the same thing. I just measured it. So lots of possibilities. And another one I was contemplating was cutting some of the piece from the kit and adding some of the bling. And that was as far as I got with that one. But again, just some fun ideas that you can, you know, try out in your craft area. And I love that glimmer paper. Love everything that glimmers, all the bling. So these are the card bases for the kit. But like I said, I wanted to go ahead and do first this beautiful, and like I said, I haven't seen anybody else make it into an ornament. And you know, I love to make ornaments, and I always like to do something fun like that. And this one is bringing in this kit. It's the big one here. But then this part right here, number 1, is really, really important. And it shows us right here, this twine, this beautiful gold twine, 18 inches. So I'm going to measure, or maybe I already did. That could be what this part is. Let's see. Yep, because my glass mat is 13. And so once I got it to the 13, then I brought it back over to the left side and measured it some more. There's actually a double knot in this one. But let me bring in first, because the first thing you're going to want to do is bring in this gold piece. There we go. And as it shows here, we're going to do the 2 little, I call them flat adhesive dots. They come in the paper pumpkins. They come in your kits. It's these little guys here. Some people just hate them. I love them. I'll actually use these, especially on the go. I'll use those a lot. So here's this beautiful ring. It's approximately 4x4 is what it is. Trying to make sure that you can see. There we go. We've got this beautiful ribbon that's part of that kit. And then this was part of that kit. So really the only thing I used from this kit was the gold, this big piece right here, and then this piece here. And it's very easy to do this, right? And we're going to use some dimensionals to pop it up a little bit as well. There is a little piece right here at the top. I guess where they maybe soldered it together. And I'm going to use that as my top point. And I'm also going to use my grid, just kind of as a guesstimation, because I want it to go as close to this line down the center of my grid as possible. Okay, and so that's going to be kind of my focus top part, if you will. And according to our instructions here, we're going to want to put one of these flats at the top and the bottom, or you can use a glue dot. So if you don't have those, you can always use a glue dot. So putting one right there and then one down here on the bottom. Again, trying to just guesstimate using the grid line here. Make sure everything's in the picture here. I'm used to looking to my left, but like I said earlier, my computer turned green, so I don't know what's going on with that. It's kind of crazy, but anyway, so I've got these two pieces right here, and what I'm going to need to do is I'm going to start it with enough at the top here we go. Let me just, it's easier if you just hold it down with the glue. Here we go. I always use my Take Your Pick tool for pretty much everything that I do, especially when I'm crafting. It just makes life a little bit easier. Gotta be careful, that's very fragile. All right. So taking a look at the instructions, we want to make sure we have enough that we're going to be able to tie it at the top in a circle. Oops, that always rolls on me. And this is an approximation, right? So I want to have enough to tie a knot at the top because it's going to hang as an ornament. So this one's at the top, and then it's going to go underneath, right? This direction. And then it's going to hold right there and right there, okay? This is really easy, but I'm trying to do this slow so that everybody can keep up. Or maybe you already know how to do this and you can just fast forward. So there we have the first part of it, okay? Now, this is the part that I have to take my time. So if you want to fast forward later, I get it. But basically I want to make 2 knots up here at the top so that it doesn't come undone. This trim is really beautiful. It's really easy, but for me, it's just easier if I have a double knot because the first knot kept trying to come undone. And you've got this beautiful ornament that you don't want to fall off your tree. So here we go. And it feels like I'm all thumbs when I do this, but basically it's just a double knot right there, okay? And see how even that double knot kind of wants to come undone? I don't even know what the word is for that. So I'm going to do a third knot, if you will. Okay, a third knot. Didn't write that one down. And then once you have your knot, you're just going to kind of trim it down a tiny little bit there. And now we can assemble the rest of this beautiful ornament. Let me just reference this one real quick like. So cute. All right, so as the instructions, part 2, we've got part 1 done. So part 2, we're going to bring in this piece here, okay? And it shows to be like this. So what I'm going to do, instead of these flat dots, this little guy keeps coming undone. Let me just hold him down with something. There we go. So we're working right down here. I want to bring in my little glue dots. I use these quite a lot. This is one of the adhesives I go through and usually will have to order quite a few more. You just need the adhesive on the one side, and it's going to stabilize the trim in the middle, basically, and it's also going to, oops, there we go. Hopefully keep everything centered. Yep, that one's nice and tight right there. Trying to keep it as somewhat centered. But it's definitely going to help to stabilize it. I sometimes get quiet when I'm trying to concentrate. Okay, there we go. And then just flip it over. And then just press down so that that adhesive can be nice and adhered down. Okay, that's step 2, okay? And then step 3 is decorating it. So this is where I just got a little creative. And I used this from the kit. And it's like, okay, so what am I going to do? I'm going to bring in a glue dot. Right there. And I'm going to bring this one in, and it looks like I used dimensionals. Let me just double check. Yep, I used dimensionals on both. And here we go. Got 3. So this piece go just like that. And then of course we're going to add our, oops, dimensionals for the bird, for the cardinal, the beautiful cardinal. Let's see. Yep, that's going to be perfect. So we're going to do one there. I always just give it a little eyeball there before I put the dimensionals there. So what do y'all think about this idea of turning this into a ornament? Oh, and I guess I should disclose that it's just a slightly little different here. There we go. I used a full kit and part of a refill for all of this tonight. Okay, so there's that. Now, we want to bring in our beautiful red bow. And it's going to kind of cover the top. And the last thing that we're going to do on this one, we're going to bring in our blends, our dark real red, and I've got the 2 originals, which I left there on purpose because I wanted to share with you how you can use your blends and you can color it over. And to me, it just adds an extra little something to this ornament, the cardinal ornament. See how easy that is? Because to me, the clear ones are nice and they look great, but I really wanted some red bling for my ornament. So that's what I'm doing. And again, I'm using my Take Your Pick tool. I'm just kind of putting it right on top of the berries that are already on the piece right here. Give it that extra little bling. Voila. So it takes a few extra minutes just because of the first steps, like it shows right here, but it's worth going through and taking your time. And of course you can use a hot glue gun, and they have all these other things that are part of this kit, but I wanted to incorporate the paper pumpkin kit for this one. And then I just use some of the elements. And so next we're going to make one of each card, which the cards and envelopes are absolutely bedazzling. They are absolutely gorgeous. And then each of these kits, especially the Christmas kits, the Nest of Winter, they have this really nice, I forget what you call these cute things that are in each box. You can actually stamp on this. And so that's what I've done with another outside the box project for this evening. I forget what those things are called. All right. We're going to use this again, so I'm going to just set that off to this side. I just love this ornament. So much fun to make. And let me grab the cards. And then part of the, I guess I should grab this real quick. The online exclusive that just became available, part of the Valentine kit is the gift bags combo pack, right? So there's a big bag and there's a little bag. Well, I'm using some of the pieces to the kit and the little bag to create this piece here where you can stamp on that tissue paper. That's the word, tissue paper. And of course, you know me, I like to use, these are my favorite dies, which tomorrow's the last day of the sale. These are on sale. The Pocket Thought dies for the treat boxes or treat bags, and using the medium-sized one to create the gift card holder. So this could be so cute. Some little, I don't know, trinkets. You could probably put some chocolates, some gum. It's a small little box, but then you can put like a gift card, right? And this would be the cutest little gift exchange for work or something like that. Again, stamping using the kit. Right, so there's that one. We're going to make that. I did a lot of the outside the box thinking for this one. It's just so much fun. There's a lot here that I want to share. And I did go ahead and I pre-scored and trimmed and all of that. And a little tip for you, should you decide to do the same thing, because again, I love to, you know, use the stamp sets, all the stamps that come in the paper pumpkin kit. If you decide to do this on your glass mat, you might want to have a piece of scrap paper under there because it will like bleed through. And it could just be that my stamp pad is just super juicy. I don't know. But that's what I did with the tissue paper, because you can stamp on tissue paper. It's so easy. And then I did bring in, so like thinking of you, Merry Christmas. We have these tags that come with the kit, but then I brought in a die cut piece that will work in thinking of you, Merry Christmas, whatever sentiment that you want to put on there. And then I went ahead and die cut this one out because this actually, like I said, was that middle piece that came out from this card here. And it was just the right size to die cut. Make a little pocket. So fun. And then you definitely want to go through and burnish. And this is the original intent for these dies that a couple weeks back, or maybe it's been a month now, I went through and figured out how I could make that into a bag. That was before I knew they were coming out with these cute little bags, but there's so many uses to these dies. So we definitely want to do our stamping first on this side, not the side, but the fold. So this side here, we're going to use the shaded spruce, and every kit comes with an ink spot. Oops, not that one. So I have quite a few of those little ink spots, shaded spruce. And I tend to just get out my big pad because I like to see where I'm stamping, kind of old school a bit. Oh, and then you definitely want to do your stamping before you adhere everything. So just kind of using the stamp from the stamp set. And then let's see. Oh, and then let me share. I wasn't sure how this was going to turn out. So I'd stamped the leaf and then I thought, well, I don't know if you can still see that. You could definitely do that. I never did anything with this particular piece, but you can do that. Let's see. Just want to stamp where looks like you'll be able to see. This is like, it looks like a kind of a fern. Okay. And then while we have it open, well, no, I think I want to do red. Red Merry Christmas. There's our little piece right there. I pre-stamped that one and found that out. Otherwise, it would have been quite a mess had I not done that. We want to stamp Merry Christmas in red. And again, you can always do the thinking of you. And all of the embellishments in the catalog, the annual catalog, there's so many beautiful embellishments. This one's Blooming Pearls, and that's what I used. And it's, I don't know if it was the Garden Green or the Pretty Peacock, but they're really close in color. Just a little extra something for the bling there. Let's go ahead and we're gonna put our tear and tape on here. Just like that. And it's okay if there's a little overlap. Oh, you can see it's trying to smear on here already. Oh my goodness. Gotta be careful. So this is going to be flat against the box, but it's still going to have room for the gift card. Okay. Let me go ahead and take this piece off. Just make sure it doesn't overlap. Like this one's going to overlap just a tiny bit. And you just want to fold it back where you want the adhesive, not on that side, but this side. You're going to put it right there. And perfect. Just like that. And then we're going to stamp our Merry Christmas in red. I went ahead and put the Merry Christmas on the block together because you can see as the stamp said, they're separate. We're going to do Merry Christmas in red. If you don't have a refill kit, you can always, like I said, I show things that you can use your other sets that you might have or die cuts. Ooh, it's getting red on my fingers. Gotta be careful. The great thing about your grid paper or your glass mat grid, when I go to line up my stamps, especially the photopolymer, you can use the lines to line them up so that it looks like it's perfect, or as perfect as it can be. And then this one, you definitely want to give it let it dry a little bit. Bring in some dimensionals. And then of course, just on this side, well, let's go ahead and do both. But before I set this down, I've got this little piece of beautiful, I've almost used an entire roll, shaded spruce. This is in the mini catalog. It's satin and sheer ribbon. This one is part of that really classic Christmas bundle. But you can see this ribbon goes with just about anything. It's approximately 3.5 inches. And I'm going to like fold it kind of on itself. Like so. You can see it's wanting to come up, so I'm going to just bring in a little glue dot. My adhesive of choice. And then we got that little bit there, and of course, I need to give that a little trim, just like that. And we're going to put this right over the top. And I need to add a little bit of a glue dot here. I'll probably go through 2 rolls of glue dots in a month. I use a lot of them. And so here is, oh yes, the bling. Don't forget the bling. I do that sometimes. I get so excited about the project and I forget that bling. Okay, let's see which one. I want to say it was this dark one. I think this is the garden green. So we've got a big one that we're going to put right there. And then we're going to do the medium sized. Is this medium? No, that's kind of big. So we're going to put a little one next to it. And then another little bitty one. If I can get it here. Over here on the side. Isn't that pretty? So I used the stamp set and then I used the tissue paper that came in the kit and stamped on it and created another fun bag. Isn't that cute? This would be a cute, like, gift, dinner gift. Isn't that sweet? I love that. Okay. So that's another one of those thinking outside the box. And that's actually a bag. Okay, so let's get started with, let's see. Let's do one of the alternatives. I got a lot to share. And I'm always excited to share with y'all some of my ideas. So from my template, this is, I believe it's called a tent card. And so here's my template. It'll fit standing up. You've got a 4x4 on the inside. The tent layer is 3 by 4.5. And so this tent piece, this cardstock piece here, the outside, is 3 1/4 by 4 3/4. And the card base is 8 1/2 by 4 1/4, scored at 4 1/4. The inside sentiment is 4 by 4. And I did measure it a tiny bit different. And I'm going to share that with y'all. This is my design. My tent card. Stamping it, bringing in some other elements, and also bringing in our Fern 3D embossing folder. Ta-da! I love bringing in coordinating product. And then I had an idea. Again, this is that piece that is from this piece of card base. It's this piece right here that I went through and embossed that entire piece, and I measured it to figure out the layering for the real red. And then to kind of show off the fern, I've got this like a sanding paper. My husband had it in the garage. I don't even know officially. And you just kind of, it'll, what do you call it? Sand it a little bit, which just means it's going to break up some of the fibers in the cardstock. Just kind of show it off a little bit. Just a little bit, right? Don't need to do a whole bunch. And so I wanted to layer this, and the layering red is 3 1/2 by 4 3/4. And really, if I'd been thinking, I would have like die cut this or punched this out and then adhered this to save. But because it's a tent and part of it is going to be showing, I didn't do that. Normally I would try to do that to save paper, but because of the way the fold is, I wanted to make sure we had plenty covered. So here's our card base. Make sure you burnish that real good. Okay. And we're also going to use that same bling too for this card, that middle piece right there. So let's go ahead and I have a trick for y'all. I'm so excited about this. I love to share the tricks and tips and things. So we're going to just find that sweet spot where it's centered in the middle. And then, I don't know about y'all, but for, I don't know, 2 or 3 years, I've had a love-hate relationship with the Stampin' Seal, but I figured out how to work this, and I think this will help everybody else that's watching. Normally, with the old fast fuse, you would do like a check mark to the right or check mark to the left. Well, instead, I'm kind of a toward me check mark, if you will, to kind of keep it on the track, because whenever it gets off the track, it sort of winds up and I end up not being able to utilize it. So just toward me, I flick it and it stays on the rollers. It's a fun, amazing trick. And I don't even know how one day I was just, and I thought, I can't go left or right or it'll get off the track. So it's like flicking it toward me. And I was a little overzealous, so I'm going to get my embossing buddy out because I don't want to have a little sticky there where I don't want it. It's like a talcum powder, so it kind of fixes the sticky part there. And then before we get too far along, I need to do my stamping. So we're going to stamp that same little fern looking leaf there. And then the Merry Christmas and our little fern right there as well. So let's go ahead and do that. Our Merry Christmas in red, real red. And then the fern in shaded spruce. If I didn't already say it, the shaded spruce is the card base. I love the photopolymer. I can see exactly where I'm stamping. And then here's our shaded spruce. Now before I bring that in, I want to let that dry a little bit. Meanwhile, I just want to kind of walk this stamp around the side, the edges. And then I'm just going to keep turning it as I stamp it. Like that. I always try to remember to close my ink. And then this one, the trick to this one is want to make sure it's going to still fit inside the envelope. So again, I'm just kind of measuring with my eyeballs. And then I'm using the grid paper on the far left to make sure that it doesn't exceed the 5.5. Hopefully that makes sense. So that's going to be my sweet spot. I'm going to hold down on one side and then lift up this side so that I can apply the adhesive, flick it toward me, and it stays on the roller. And then I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing, bring in some more adhesive for the rest of this part right here, flicking it toward me, and it keeps it on the track. I don't know why I didn't figure this out before now, but, well, now y'all know. I think it's going to save me on my replacement inks. Stays on the roller. And again, I lift up one side, apply my adhesive. So no check marks to the left or right. You just kind of like flick it to yourself and it stays on the roller. Love it. All right, so now we're going to finish putting our cute little card together here. Since we're going to put this one up on dimensionals, it's going to make it easy to put the little bitty red ribbon that comes with the kit. This is a fun tent fold card. It's worth taking the time to create templates like that. For me, it's totally opened up the creative world of possibilities. Let's see. All right, so we got part of that on there. The rest of that, we're going to use a glue dot. I'm really hoping I keep everything in the picture here. All right. And then just kind of put it in the middle at an angle a little bit. Then the last thing for this fun tent, alternative tent card. Let's see, where did I put those? They've walked off. Where did those cute things go? Ah, off to the side. All right. Looks like we're going to need to color in one more. We'll color this one in. And I'm using the dark blends. Oh wait, that's the light one. And the blends are actually on the sale too, so I might actually need to order another set of these. I use the Real Red quite a lot. All right, there we go. It's a little cluster of 3, and it just kind of covers up that dead spot, if you will, in the middle of this piece here. Because you can see on the card sample, it's going to have another bird layered on top of that one. But this was part of my alternatives that kind of covers up a little bit of that spot there. That embossing buddy needs to get that so it's not sticky anymore. Do that again. And sometimes you can just do this and it looks like a dirty glue dot. It gets at that excess adhesive there. Card alternative number 1. The tent card. Lots of fun using that template. We made a bag. And then this one, I have to say, this is an oldie but goodie. Sometimes when I'm cleaning, ideas will happen, and I think this is probably one of those. So I think it was August of 2022, 2 years ago. We had that paper pumpkin kit that was just amazing. I mean, it was like it sold out, and the refills were, I mean, I don't know, it was a hot, quick minute, and it was sold out. And I can't even remember if I got an extra kit or not, but I want to say it was Stampin' Up! Had shared how to turn the bag or the envelope into a bag, and so that's what I'm doing for one of my alternatives tonight. Is the beautiful bag. We're going to turn it into, or I'm sorry, envelope. Beautiful envelopes. I'm going to turn it into this fun bag. It's big enough to hold a little Kleenex. You could probably put a little roll of, you know, Tums or breath mints. You could definitely fit one of those little Debbies in there if you wanted a little sweet treat. And there's a fun little thing we're going to do with the ribbon, because as you can see, the kit comes with ribbon, but it's not quite that long. So I'm going to share a tip with you on that. But I had all of my notes in here, and I had to refer back to the step-by-step that I did once before, because it had been a hot minute. But that was my inspiration for that one. I was cleaning, and I thought, let's make a bag from this beautiful envelope that comes with the kit. And of course, bringing in some beautiful ribbon, using the tear and tape to adhere it to the inside. And here it is. It's going to be an envelope into this nice little bag. Super easy. And then these are the pieces from the kit that we're going to use. Like it shows for the card, it's going to layer one on top of the other with dimensionals. And then joyful thoughts to you this season. So we're going to stamp that on there. But all of this to the side, because we're going to bring in our paper trimmer, which I understand is on low inventory, or maybe it's on a temporary back order now. I don't know. But we're going to bring in the paper trimmer because we're going to cut and we're going to score. My scoring blade is at the bottom and my cutting blade is at the top. I did a 3D project probably 3 years ago, and I was supposed to score it and I ended up cutting it. So I kind of messed up my project. So ever since then, I just decided my cutter's going to always be at the top, and my score is going to be at the bottom so that I don't make that error again. So however it works best for you, I would suggest finding that kind of a solution. And then I've got my little spiral here with my notes so that I can go one step at a time and hopefully explain this simply, because it is really easy to do this. So trimming 1/8 on 2 sides, and that's basically 1/8 is, well, it's at probably a 1/16. It's like 2 over, 2 little lines over, and it may be hard to see. Try to get this as close as I can with as much light. So it's basically going to be just a tiny little sliver, basically, on 2 sides. Now I got to decide which side is going to be the top, right, with your envelope. Trim 1/8 on 2 sides. So let's get started. As you can see, it's the tiniest little piece, 1/8. That's one side. And that's the other side. I think I was supposed to adhere that. Oops. Did I mess that up? Wouldn't you leave it to me to do that? Mess it up. Yes, I was supposed to adhere that down. With my computer having that green issue, I was a little distracted before I went live tonight. Yeah, let me get another envelope. Hopefully I can go through before I put this to YouTube later, and I can hopefully edit this part out that I messed up. Oh man. Because I literally had pictures that I should have referred to before I went live, but that's okay. That's going to be the top. Two sides. I'm second guessing myself now. That's terrible. Okay, I'm going to head and adhere that down. Okay. Okay. Here we go. Hopefully I can edit that part out. I cut the 1/8 off the wrong 2 sides. It's going to be the top and bottom. So this is a complete envelope that's sealed. You definitely got to do the seal. It's these 2 shorter sides. I need to write on that. Trim the 2 shorter sides. There we go. 1/8 of an inch. Because the 1/8 of an inch is the top and the bottom. Goodness me. All right, so there's that. Makes sense. Oh, I got flustered there for a second. That's all right. So it's the short side after you've sealed it. So now the next is we want to do our stamping, and then we can score. So on this one I didn't, but I definitely want to on this one stamp, okay? So that's the front. This is going to be the back. Let's see, yep. So this is the side I want to stamp. I always have to double check. Okay. Hopefully I can edit that piece out. So I want to bring in this one and stamp it. The little fern. I didn't do that the first time, and I wanted to make sure that I kind of added some of that in. And I don't know if we'll like the original one or the one that we've stamped. Won't know till we try it. And maybe it's too busy, I don't know. But if you are going to stamp an envelope, you definitely want to stamp it first. So we've sealed it. It's going to be top and bottom this direction. Now we're going to bring in our trimmer and we are going to score. Hopefully that's dry. We're going to score 3 sides at 1/2 inch, basically the bottom and the 2 sides. And since this is going to be the top, the 2 sides and the bottom are going to be scored at the 1/2 inch mark. It's an envelope, so you definitely want to firmly go over it twice at the 1/2 inch. Two sides in the bottom at 1/2 inch again, right here. And then the bottom piece, and I'm again referring to my little notes, the bottom piece we're going to trim up to the score line. Trim just like that, up to the score line on the inside. We've got those little pieces like right there, right? And then you definitely want to make sure you've got that score burnished real well. On all 4 sides. Makes it a little bit easier. Okay. Next, trim off 1 square from each side and then use tear and tape. Okay. This is our bottom piece, okay? Just like that. You can see it's kind of bowing in a little bit, which is why we're going to trim off one tiny little piece. Let's cut down the middle there. So it looks like there's 4 flaps. Then we're going to put the tear and tape here and fold it over on top of this piece. That's going to create the bottom of the back. Okay, let's get our tear and tape. Let me just do this one more time just to make sure. Yep. And so this piece right here, get it close to that top as possible. Before we put that adhesive, we want to just make sure that all of these score lines are very clear. Okay. So now I'm going to take that fold it in. Fold this piece down. The piece next to the tear and tape is what we need to trim off. So this piece right here is close to the tear and tape. Fold that down. And this is where I like to use my bone folder just to make sure that adhesive is on there. All right. So now we've got our cute little ribbon that, again, just a tiny little bit of tear and tape. And this piece of ribbon is 7.5 inches approximately. And I did it on the one side because we're going to just kind of pinch it on there. Oop. There we go, and take this piece off as well. There we go. And I will, of course, share all the dimensions in our group a little later. We've got a fun trick with this ribbon. And we're going to layer it all on there. It's gonna look so cute. Okay, so I wanted to extend it, right? And you can see there's not a lot left, which is how the kit shows that you're supposed to put this on, right, for the cards. So I'm going to, let's see, it's approximately 3 inches. So about 1.5 inches. Just gonna trim it down the middle. And before I put that on, we need to stamp joyful. I always get a step or two ahead of myself for some reason. So we're going to use our real red and stamp joyful thoughts to you this season. hold down and press it firmly. And so we're going to use a glue dot. Again, one of my favorite adhesives. And we're just going to put that right there. Joyful thoughts to you this season. And then I've got the side here. I'm going to use some dimensionals. Use every part of those dimensionals, even the sides. I'm going to tear that piece off. Just like that. And now we're going to layer this cute bird right on top. And then I don't think I layered the rest of it. Somebody was trying to call me. Hope everything's okay. All right. There we go. Hopefully that didn't mess up the recording. And then the last piece to this one is our bling, which I thought was handy. Hopefully it still is. And I use a lot of it. It's that gorgeous, dazzling diamonds that I believe is here. Yep, here we go. Okay. Beautiful, dazzling diamonds. And I want to, let's see, there's 140. There's like 3 different sizes. And I don't know, I just like a little extra bling on my projects. So envelope to bag. I always get a little flustered sometimes, so I'll try to edit that part out later. So here's our bag. So I don't know, what do you think? Do you like it when it's stamped, or do you like the bag just as the bag is? I don't know. What do you think? With or without the stamping? So that's our, I've lost count because we've got lots that we're sharing. So let's move on to the next thing. Again, when I'm cleaning and moving things around, I find things, and I found this and thought, okay, how can I turn this fun Nest of Christmas kit into this? Well, I did my measuring and all that. And this is what I came up with. Ta-da! What do y'all think about that? I just love thinking outside the box, and everything in this kit is usable. Even these little pieces that come out. So the little insert that was in this part right here, I used for the front of that one. And then this one, I had all of the cardstock pieces I had to measure them again because I didn't have a template for this one. I just had this one sitting in a pile. I was going through some baskets, and it was like, this was maybe 3 years ago. Gathered together, had all that fun leafing and stuff. Anyway, I wanted to come up with something with this kit. So this is what I did. Came up with this one. And then of course, for this piece right here, it's directly from the designer paper that is part of the Nest of Winter. I'm probably saying the wrong stamp set. Let me find it real quick. Well, I don't know. Anyway, there is actually this fun piece right here. okay, that's part of the kit. It's got that fun design to it. Well, the Garden Meadow bundle, it has a die cut in it that is very, very similar. So again, if you don't have this kit, you could do something very similar to this, right? Using the stamp set that's in the mini, and then this die cut piece that is from that meadow. And it's a little bit bigger, but it would work. And of course, there's some fantastic artisan designers out there that turn this direction, put some of the linen thread behind here, and decorated it as like an ornament or something that you can hang. So every piece of this kit can be used. And then I just used the designer paper for that piece there. And of course, since I wrote it down, let me just tell you the dimensions so you'll have it. So much fun, love this. The card stock piece, the base, is 9 inches by 3.5, scored at 2 1/4, and then scored again at 4 1/4. Okay. And so the 3D projects that I've made are going to go, some of these are going to go to the postal lady. She's a really sweet lady. And to my sister-in-law probably. Let's see. All right. So this piece, this designer paper, it's really, really pretty. You can actually use the die cut for some of these pieces. But this piece is, let's see, DSP. Okay, so this, when I measured this piece here, it was 8 by 3 1/4, cut at 4 1/4. But it's just a tiny bit different. Since instead of using a solid piece there, I just used parts from the kit. So let me give it to you straight up. 4 inches by 3 1/4. And that is going to go down here at the bottom. And you can see there's still a little bit of paper there. Just find that sweet spot. Hold down one side. I'm going to lift up the flap. I'm going to use our Stamp and Seal. And then I'm going to flick it toward me so it stays on the track. So instead of the left to right, I just flick it toward me. It's kind of silly, but... And then, of course, the next thing I'm going to do is, this is a cardstock piece, 4 1/4 by 3 1/2. And then this piece is going to sit right on top, basically flush with the bottom. I'm going to find it as close to the center as possible. Hold down one side. I'm going to lift up the flap and apply the adhesive. And it stays on the track. Love that. Okay. This is a fun piece right here. And it's going to, there's a little piece right there extra. But the thing about this is you only want to apply the adhesive to this part right here. Okay? So that when it's on here, it will sit up like that. So you don't want to put the adhesive here or it won't be able to bend. Hopefully that makes sense. So I'm going to go ahead and apply a lot of adhesive here just to this one piece, just like that. And the bottom is going to be flush. Just like that. That way I only put the adhesive on the one side. This one's actually really easy to make. You can make multiples of these. It's so, so cute. Okay. And so this one is just your regular little, I guess it's what, 3 by 3? Yep, 3 by 3. Get these at any office place, all that good stuff. I'm going to bring my sample in just to kind of give it an idea of where I need to place my Post-it note. It's approximately there. Now this one is another one I'm going to use tear and tape. And I'm going to probably be very, very generous with this one. Just like that. I'm going to have a nice messy desk when this is all said and done. That's okay. I mentioned earlier I had a green screen on my laptop, so I'm not really able to see the comments tonight, but I will be able to go back later if you have any questions or anything come up. I'll be sure and answer them. Whew. We just want to make sure all of this is nice and burnished so it will stay open. Just like that. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and decorate this top piece. We're using these two right here from the kit and that piece from the kit. This one's just going to be flat. Just kind of get it all on there. And then of course we want to put our cute little birdie on dimensionals. This would make a fun little gift for a Secret Santa, office gift, all that kind of fun stuff. And then just put them right there. Now you can use the bling if you want. I didn't for this one, but you could totally use more bling if you wanted. I just thought this was really nice. It's not really Christmas. It could be a winter gift. It could be, you know, it could actually, well, maybe, will it fit in this bag? Maybe the bigger bag. The bigger bag it would fit. So that's an idea too. So there's another alternative. Like I said, I've kind of lost track how many. I did more of the outside the box thinking on this one than I normally would do a bunch of cards. But this is just such an elegant kit. And I guess it's probably time to put the two together. And then we can move on to, I think I have two more or one more. Yep. Oh, I have a shaker. I do have a shaker alternative. Shaker alternative for this kit as well. And then another box. So we're definitely going over what we normally would, but like I said, this is such an inspiration, this kit. Absolutely gorgeous. Love it. Everything about it is beautiful. Look at all these pieces and those envelopes, all of that. Absolutely gorgeous. So let's go ahead and do this one. With all the pieces. Here's that gorgeous envelope that I turned into a bag. Super easy. Gorgeous, gorgeous. That's beautiful. All right, so here's all the pieces for this one. And I used that piece there that was popped out. I really think that if you had a picture, you could put it right here. And then you could just say, from our house to yours. You still have plenty of room for your greetings and all the fun stuff on the inside. This is really, really cute. And so it says, joyful thoughts to you this season. I love to say Merry Christmas, so I'm going to do that one in red. Merry Christmas for this one. And then I didn't realize this until I started playing with, I almost had all of this done. And I opened up the refill kit, and that's when I realized that there were two different sizes of these little greetings. Two different sizes. I didn't realize that. So Hopefully this is the correct one. We have all these fun little pieces that we're going to use just for this one, this particular kit. I love the instructions on the paper pumpkin because it shows whether you're going to use the tear and tape or if you're going to use dimensionals. And you can see that a lot of these are going to be popped up on dimensionals because part of it, you don't want it to see through the back because, again, this is a tri-fold that's going to open up. It's pretty amazing. I love to be inspired by all of these paper pumpkin kits. They are just amazing. Let's go ahead and do our stamping so this can dry while we're putting our card together and assembling it. Oh yeah, here's my Merry Christmas. All right, Merry Christmas in red. Just press down firmly. Let the ink soak into the paper. And it looks like they're wanting us to use tear and tape, according to the instructions. So, oh, this one I didn't put that ribbon on there. So here's our ribbon. So it's pre-cut in the kit. And it's showing that they want us to use, I guess because it's the ribbon, tear and tape. Which that makes sense. I like to make it easy, so I'm just going to put it on the little cardstock piece there. To me, it's just a little bit easier. To line that up, you got just a little bit of that red. It's kind of a shame. Probably could have just cut it in half and extended it a little bit. That's what I probably should have done. But that's okay. And it's showing that we're going to put dimensionals on this one as well. And I haven't put this one together, so this is interesting. I'm going to just put 3. It's a lovely, lovely kit. I don't know that they're going to actually have not refills, but an actual extra kit. It's my understanding they sold completely out, so I don't know. All right, so it shows where we're supposed to put the dimensionals, but for me, it's easier so that I don't accidentally get it where it's not supposed to come through. Rather than put the dimensional on the little die cut pieces, I'm going to put it around the actual card here because for me, it just makes more sense that way. I'm going to be using the dimensionals on 2 sides here, 2 over here, because that's what makes sense to me. And then if you're all thumbs, your take your pick tool is so super handy to pick up. And so this piece is going to go at the top. I really need to go further up here so you can see what I'm doing. Kind of forget about that. I'm so used to that laptop being able to see it, and then, like I said, it was a green screen earlier today. It was really bizarre. All right, so here we go with the piece of the dimensional. This one's going to go down first. You got to make sure that everything is going to fit within the border of the card. Looks like I'm going to need one more dimensional out here. I'm doing it this way because that's what makes sense to me. And then one more dimensional for the bird. Be right next to that one. Isn't that pretty? So see, on this one, even though I did exactly as it showed on the instructions, I think what I probably would have done as an alternative to this one would be the front could stay the same, but I would put a picture here, like a family portrait. And then this, Merry Christmas, I probably would have put flat on the inside. But still, that's really, really cute. And you can bring in some bling if you want, but this one is as is. First card, and now card number 2. All the pieces. This is with the beautiful cardinal. It's card number 2, or number 1. And we've used that inner piece there. And again, it looks like it's going to go on the inside like that. I just realized something. Was I supposed? Yeah, no, I'm not supposed to. So for this one, we're going to stamp this stamp on the sides. I love the color instructions. Really makes crafting so easy. That is absolutely gorgeous. So, since we're going to stamp on that, I'm just going to bring a little piece of sticky because I don't want to stamp my glass. Yes, that's right. We're doing this one. And it shows just a little bit on the side there. Just like that. Just a little bit right there. And then we're going to stamp our Merry Christmas. And again, I want it in red. For a cute little tag here. Just stamp nice and firm and let that ink soak in. Okay, this one opens up this direction. And then it looks like we've got some ribbon. So let's go ahead and do like I originally thought. So we can extend out that ribbon just a tiny little bit. We'll just cut it down the middle. Get our little tear and tape. Right down the middle. Just so that there'll be a little bit more than in the red showing than before. Could be careful, it tries to smear too. And then I think we want to just do one more tear and tape right on top of it as the adhesive of choice, which is really good adhesive when you're dealing with ribbons. There we go. And it looks like it's going to go right there at the top. Trying to get it as even as possible. And then we've got this piece that's going to go on the side, and it shows 2 dimensionals. So while that's there, put 1 dimensional on the side, right like that. I feel like I'm going in slow motion tonight. All right, so there's that one. And again, you want to make sure all the elements are going to be inside the envelope. So when you send this gorgeous creation out in the mail, everything is inside the envelope. Boy, that's a tiny little spot right there, isn't it? There we go. That way it's on the inside. And then last but not least, for this cute card, it's going to be right on top. Oh, it's so beautiful. Love cardinals. And I think it does call for the dimensionals. Oh, that's so pretty. So just note for next year, when the October paper pumpkin kit comes out, you're going to want to order several kits and the refills, because the kits are amazing. Stocking one is sure to be a fun one too. So you definitely want to make sure that you get those. And then I wanted to just share with you, I kind of copied somebody. I think her name is V Tran. She turned it into a fun little stand-up card. I tried the instructions and I bent it so many different ways and that it's a tent. This trifold is turned into a tent. But I found a really easy way to do it. So I want to share that with you. That's another 3D. And then we have a shaker and a box. So we've got 2 more after this one. Ooh, this might be a 2-hour. That's okay. There's a lot of fun creativity with this. But this one is not mine. This one is from, I believe her name is V Tran, another amazing demonstrator out there. Let's see. And it looks like, yep, she had turned it up like that. And then this is the trifold, right? So the trifold, this piece right here, to make it very simple, was basically folded back over onto itself, okay? And then this piece all the way around, she stamped it with the fern, okay? Just to save time, I'm not going to do it, but I just wanted to share with you how easy this fold is to create a tent with any of your trifolds, okay? You'll stamp it, and then you'll bring this back over with this one up like that, okay? And then you're going to apply your adhesive on this thin piece right here, okay? Adhesive right there. And then as you fold this over flat, you'll just have the adhesive on the top part, okay? And then it will open up and be a tent. Super, super easy, right? Fun, fun, fun. And then there's all these fun little pieces. Now, this is not one, I guess. Oh, I guess you could probably write here your greeting. Hey, hope you're doing well. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Miss you, whatever you want to put on there, right? And then you add all the fun little pieces. But this was a fun one that, like I said, I had different folds on there, and I realized, you know, this, to me, this was a little bit easier. Here's your trifold. You're going to fold this back on itself. And then you'll do your stamping. And then this piece, you basically just fold it in half, fold it back this direction, and then you're going to apply that adhesive right here at the top only. Fold it, and there's your tent. Okay? Super easy, super fun. Let's see. Let's do the shaker, and then we'll do the box, okay? We're getting toward the end. Like I said, there's so many fun ideas out there and inspiration. Except for the one I just showed you, all of these are what I'm calling Athena Originals. And we are going to be using the foam adhesives tonight. All right, are you ready for this shaker? Oh, this is fun. Okay. This is my alternative. We're using thick white paper. And I don't know about you, but I tend to keep some of the product from before. I've had this one, I don't know, 2 catalogs ago, Snowflake Sequins. There's one in the mini catalog that's new. When I'm doing paper pumpkin alternatives, I'll use some retired stuff, no big deal. We've all got fun sequins in our stash. And so for this one, let me just double check. Yep, we're going to cut it over, cut it in half. So this is the part that we had left over from one of the other ideas I had. We are using the Tinsel Gems 4-pack from the annual catalog. We have a window sheet that you're going to need for this one. And that is cut, the window sheet is 5 1/4 by 1/4. We're going to attach the window sheet first. Well, I should say first. I should say we're going to cut first. Let me do this very carefully. Okay, there's all of our pieces. We're going to set that to the side just for a second. Okay. So we're going to cut right down the center. This is going to be the flat, then this will be on the top. And we just brought in some cute little elements. Again, we brought in another die cut because it just looked more appeasing, I guess, for this window part. I wanted to make sure that you could see the shaking part. And of course, I love the word Merry Christmas and all the fun little bling we can add to it. So first, we're going to get our trimmer out and cut that right down the middle. Okay. Then I'm just lining up at the top, the score with the blade part on top and bottom. And this is going to layer right on the top for our shaker. Now, normally I like to do the, I guess it's called the F-A-U-X, or fake shaker using the envelopes. But for this one, it's really easy to just use the foam adhesive strips. And it's important that I go through my step-by-step so that I don't get flustered. First thing we're going to do is attach the window sheet. So that means it's going to be attached right there. And you want to try to keep your fingerprints off of it as much as you can. Sometimes it can't be helped. And I'm going to apply adhesive for the window sheet. And this part you want to be very careful because we've got just a tiny little piece of paper we're working with. I'm flicking it towards myself so it is not getting off the track. That one did just a tiny bit. All right, so now we're going to get our window sheet, which is measured 5 1/4 by 1/4. And it's going to go right on top. Again, got to be real careful. And so I went over a tiny bit I don't know if you can see that. So here we go. Here's a mess up, and this is an opportunity to just modify it. I'm just going to trim off the little excess right there. Okay, the window sheet. And we're still good. Okay. I used to really get flustered when I would mess up, but you know, we all do, and so this is a great way to show you what we can do about that. All right, so now we've attached the window sheet. Now we're what's called building. We're going to get our foam adhesive sheets out. We're going to walk it around. And so we're just going to start the long end, kind of in the middle. You just want to push that down nice and firmly. And I've got in my stash some old trimmer when we used to have to cut our red rubber years back. And you can do Goo Gone to get the gooey off, or the sticky. But I just want to trim it. And then this one, I'm just going to butt it up as close as you can get it. And then again, it's going to go down the middle. You just want to make sure you apply a nice even pressure. And then you're just going to trim it. Okay, so it's just that tiny little bit. In my opinion, not worth keeping. And then I'm going to get one more strip, so basically 2 strips. I'm going to walk it around. Again, I want to butt it up as close as possible. Nice and firm. Trim it. And then I'm going to butt this one up again. Close as possible. Just like that. So there's just the tiniest little bit that I'm not going to keep. And you just want to make sure that's firmly down there, that they're butted up as close as possible, because this is going to eventually be on top. Just like that. So when I put this first one together, I put the elements, the shaker elements on this side, and then I put this one on top. I kind of am thinking if I put the shaker elements here, then I can put this one down and it'll be a little bit more centered, because I always try to find the easier way to do things. So let's just see if this will work. Get those shaker elements right there in the middle. And 3 healthy pinches is what I'm calling it. And then static electricity, whatever you want to call it. Some of it's going to stick to you, but that's okay. Okay. So now we're going to take off the sticky on all 4 sides. And this one, like the first one, you want to take your time walking it around, because the tear and tape is great adhesive. See, it's sticking to me already. Little snowflakes. That's okay. There we go. And so I'm going to do my best to slowly put that right on top. And then you just firmly press all the way around. And there's our shaker. I love it when it comes together, okay? And that's pretty close to I mean, you know, paper crafting is not perfect, but I mean, that's close to perfect there. And it helps when I have my little sticky notes to remind me, because I had to think a few minutes before I figured out how I was going to do this, because it had been a while since I had used the foam, and these will mail very, very easily, so no worries there. Let's go ahead next and stamp our sentiment, which is here somewhere. Let's see, what did I do with that one? I just love a good shaker, don't you? Yeah, I don't think I put enough in that one. And of course the static is going to stick to the window sheet a little bit, but isn't that fun? Who doesn't like, you know, the shakers? Those are so cute. All right, so I guess we'll go ahead and just put this one on. So this is a flat surface, so we can go ahead and add our adhesive. Remember, flick it towards you and then stays on the track. Whoops. Just gonna put that right there. Oh, okay, so this one I forgot. We're gonna fussy cut the birdie out. Ah, I forgot about that. So yeah, I don't know if you can see on the left side here, I've got extra fun stuff over here. So let's go ahead and fussy cut the cute little birdie. And then these little elements here can be used on another card or project. If I played with this another week or two, I probably would have had several more ideas, but there's quite a lot of fun ideas I'm sharing now. And then you just kind of round it. And then we've got this for another piece later that we can trim and use. Now we've got this cute little birdie. I'm going to put it right there. Just put a little bit of adhesive like that. So cute. And now our Merry Christmas. This one says, thinking of you. I think we'll do thinking of you because I already have it ready to go. And I use glue dots to hold the ribbon down. This is a fun thinking of you. And that's when I was kind of playing with that ribbon too. Isn't that fun? Oh my goodness, that's so fun. And then last but not least on this one, let's bring in these fun embellishments. Tinsel Gems 4-pack. And it's got some nice greenery here. That's why I decided to use the red ink to bring in a little bit of fun color there. And then we're going to put the medium and small size kind of together up here at the top. Just a little something. These are in the annual catalog, so it's a lot of fun to use those. Oh, I'm loving the shaker cards. Okay, moving on to the last project tonight. Oh, and then something I wanted to, oh, actually I have two more. Oh my goodness. I just went crazy, you guys. So I made this box, right, using that gorgeous paper. And then I got this little box out for these. I really went crazy with this kit, but you know what? I love thinking outside the box, literally. And so this one, I colored it in, I stamped it, I colored it with the blends and fussy cut. So that's the actual stamp set. And then these are all the little bling pieces. I forgot I had two more projects. This one's fairly easy. Let me do this one. This one's easy too. They're all easy, you know me. Easy, elegant, gorgeous, fun. And it may just be that instead of completing this one with all the fussy cutting, I already had it done. And then all the elements here. So let's do this one real quick. Oh my goodness. Like I said, I worked on this for probably 2 weeks. what can I say? I really enjoy all the crafting. It's so much fun. And so these are in the mini catalog. And I call them the storybook because it reminds me of the Lifesaver storybook. And then I've seen where other demonstrators have used the dimensionals and then they've tucked this one under. And I just thought that is just the perfect fit. Now this is on here because I had to cover up a boo-boo. I was so excited to come up with this that as you'll see, when you're putting this together, this is the top, okay? And I had put this on the wrong side. And so I just covered it up with that piece that was the die cut piece that comes out. So still a lot of fun. And then this one, I cut in half. One of the pieces here. So I initially cut it down and then I cut it in half, basically. I did some measuring and I've got those measurements for you. Excuse me. And that left me with this piece here, which I then made that shaker card with. So I made like so many fun projects just by kind of cutting these all pieces off. And cut that one in half. And I think to make it easier, I'm going to put that on the bottom first. And then we'll put this together. It's super easy, right? Basically, I'm going to grab that adhesive all the way. Flicking it towards me, and it's leaving space on the roller. And then guess what? We're just going to trim off that excess. And like I said, I had to cover a boo-boo. But that's okay. All right. Okay. Try to think, how did I do that last time? Okay, there we go. And just give it a little round snippet there. Oh, that's the back piece there. I probably should have mentioned you need to make sure that you've burnished all the little places there. The little storybook, so cute. And then this one, it's gonna go, again, let me double check myself. Okay, yeah. Double check that I want it this direction. Okay. That's where I'm going to apply the adhesive here because I've already cut it. Make sure that's on there. There's just a tiny little bit showing. There we go. All right, so let's do the dimensions here. The shiny blue piece, so 5.5, which is how long it was. Let me go over the measurement for you a little better. So it's 5.5 inches across, and 5.5 divided by 2 is 2 3/4. So I cut it at 2 3/4, which is exactly half. So I trimmed it and then I cut it at 2 3/4. That's that shiny blue piece. That was my little sticky note. It's gonna go just like that. I'm thinking, was it this one I used? Nope, it was this bigger piece. No, it was that piece. So I'm going to cut that in half, and I'm going to trim it around so I can tuck it under. Okay. And so this one is the bottom part, which is super, super easy too. Just make sure all of the sides are creased real well. These make fast and easy. So you've got tear and tape here and tear and tape here already, and it's going to go in just like this. I'm going to just do one side at a time for the bottom piece. It's super easy. Hold that in. And then this one's going to fold all the way down, just like that. Super, super easy. Same thing. And then just pinch it. And then you've got these strips of tear and tape that you're going to take off, and then this box is just going to sit right on top. Just like that. Now you can fill the bottom part. Oh, I got some sticky. I'm gonna have to work that out. So this is another opportunity to share that I could probably put something fun right here as well, because I don't know how that happened, but it happens, right? You can always decorate the inside. So of course it can hold 2, 4, 6, 8 Hershey's. It can hold 4 of the Breath Savers, right? Candies. It's big enough for a lip balm. Lots of things that you can put on this one. But what am I going to put on the inside to cover that up? What indeed? Let's go ahead and trim this little guy up first, that we used to cut out the cute little birdie for our shaker card a minute ago. We cut the little birdie out, right? And so we got this piece left over. And I'm just going to kind of fussy cut it around at a tiny little sliver. Same thing for this one. Just like so. Okay, we're going to want that to close. Let's just see how this is supposed to go in here. I kind of forgot. I think like that. Well, even if this, oh, this wasn't cut in half, but this is a good way to use that piece. So let's do that. Let's use that piece just like that. And then this one right on top. So I'm going to use a glue dot. Right there. Part of that's going to be covered up anyway, so no worries there. So I improvised. and it looks good. Okay. So we're gonna need some more dimensionals. I'm probably going through an entire pack of dimensionals. That's okay. Alrighty. So I'm gonna hold that piece down as I add some dimensionals, okay? Just kind of eyeball it here for a second. All right, it's coming together. Okay. Last but not least, it's going to be right on the tippy top there. Probably on the top there. Let me just go with this one for now. Super cute. And it's tucked in there. Now this piece right here was not intended, so I'm gonna have to think about what I'm gonna put there. I still have all these fun little bits and pieces left over. Maybe I should put one of these guys in here. Yep, I think I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna put a couple of these little, yep, that's gonna cover that up nicely. There's always opportunity to change up your project. And of course I'm using my glue dots again. Let's do 2 of those. So it kind of looks like I'm wanting it to look that way. But you guys will know that I'm covering it up. There we go. Covering up a little boo-boo with the glue. And that's part of the add-on. Ta-da! And of course we have some bling, which is, let's see. I had to double check. These are actually carryover and they are in the annual catalog, and I can't believe I haven't used very many of them. So these are the adhesive backed sequins trio. So let's give it some beautiful sequin bling. Like so. There's one there. And let's do the big one right there. And then another one just right there. Ta-da! There we go. So cute. Okay. Now, last but not least, our last project. So much fun making all of these fun alternatives. Last but not least is this cute, absolutely adorable box using some gorgeous, gorgeous ribbon. And I cannot remember if this is in the annual catalog or if this was an online exclusive, but it's iridescent and it's the striped trim. And it just really sets off this box, this project so beautifully. Okay. I've got all the pieces right here. The ribbon is cut at 22 inches. And this box will hold some votive candles. So let me grab those. I had some from Frosted Cranberry or whatever. They come in these containers. So that's kind of what inspired me, I guess you could say. That smells so good. It'll hold 3. It'll also hold a pack of gum. It'll hold 4 of those Ghirardelli chocolates. And they have their little classic assortment. I guess they got the holiday ones out now. just so you'll know what these will hold. Because who wouldn't want to get something gorgeous like that? I don't know, there's a ton in here, but let's see. And then the ribbon was just kind of an extra to keep the closure, although the closure is perfect. So let's show you how this goes together. And then some ideas of what you can put in there. And again, I used another piece and trimmed it in half, and it was the perfect fit. And then this, of course, is thick cardstock. And I made myself a note to stamp here, within this area here, the leaf before cutting it to have something on the back. But I don't know. To me, I thought it needed to be stamped, but looking at it, I don't think it needs anything else. I think it's just elegant. But if you wanted to stamp, you definitely want to stamp it before you assemble it, because once it's assembled, it might be a tad difficult. So there's that little sticky note for that. Now here's what I'm calling a template, okay? And I'll load the still shots later, but this is my template that I'm going to keep with all my other templates, cards. Just it makes it a little bit easier for me to remember. And it's, you know, using a piece of cardstock. Did I write that down? Oh, how funny. I don't know that I wrote that down. Oh, I think I did. I think this little sticky note is the correct. I think that's right. I've been working on these projects for 2 weeks in gift treat box, thick cardstock, 11 inches by 4 1/4, and then you're going to score it at 4 1/2, score it at 5 1/4, score it again at 9 3/4, and then score it at 10 1/2. And then you're going to, on the short side, that was the scoring was this direction. This is the short side. Now on the short side, you're going to score it at 3/4 and 3 1/2. And then designer paper, or the paper pumpkin, is 4 1/4 by 2 1/2. And that's where the DSP is going to go at the top. Like right there. It's just so elegant. So that's for this gift box here. I guess I need to keep this right here. And then you can see where there's going to be the tear and tape, and then the little pieces of glue, right? And the DSP is going to go there. So let's get our trimmers out. Paper snips. But first, we want to go over all these score lines. And this is thick whisper, or white, whatever the current name is, I forget. And just burnish all of those score lines. I'm excited to share all of these fun projects with y'all. All right, so my template for this box is showing that I'm going to need to cut up to the score line on both sides. And then this is going to be the top of the box. Cut up to the score line. And then this top one, that tiny little sliver on the corner, is going to be cut out. Okay. So there we're at right there. Oh, I almost forgot. also going to just the tiniest bit at an angle. These little pieces right there. And that's going to help it to close a little bit easier. Just like that. Same for up here. Just a tiny little sliver. Right? Again, just a little tiny sliver right there. And this is the thick white paper. What a mess I have up here. All right, so next I want to add my designer paper, or basically the top of the, or one of the half sheets from the paper pumpkin. I'll hold down one side, lift up, and try that again. Try to center it. Lift up one side, apply the adhesive. And it's staying on the track. Love that. Okay. Thank y'all so much for sticking with me tonight. It's a long one. I didn't realize that, but you know, I had a lot of fun things, excuse me, a lot of fun things I wanted to share. And so this is a lot of fun. So this one, we definitely want to put our tear and tape all the way down. And press it down nice and firmly. Let's assemble this fun box, treat box. We're going to put some glue on there, and that's what's going to go down first. And I realize, take a drink of water. Sorry about that. This, the little piece on the flaps, we're going to use our Stamp and Seal Plus, okay? Gotta be careful. It tries to get off the roller there. Flick it back to you. And it's got this protective cover. Try to keep it on that one. I don't use that one a lot, but you know, projects like this, it's really important. All right, we've got some sticky going on there. And then I'm just bringing that in, and I'm going to pinch it. Okay, hopefully I'm going slow enough. And then this one, because of the tear and tape, is going to fold inside. Remember, this is the front, and then this will be the flaps on the side, okay? I think I took a picture of this one before. That's okay. All right, so we're going to just do one at a time to remove this tear and tape. And then just make sure that's tucked in. And that's where I'm using that bone folder to really make sure that that tear and tape is in there nice and easy. And this piece of tear and tape as well. And again, using that bone folder, make sure that's nice and tight. Now, as you can see, this will fold all the way in. just like that. But before we do anything else, let's just show all the fun stuff that you can put in this cute little box, right? So there's 3 Ghirardelli chocolates. Well, let's do 2 there. 2 more. So 4 of these Ghirardelli little square chocolates will fit very, very comfortably. 4, okay? 4. So that's your sweets. And then, of course, we've got our cute little votive candles. 1, 2, 3, 4 could fit, but really 3. So this is the size of box that will hold 4 of the Ghirardelli chocolates, or 3 of our little votive candles. Super cute box. Love it. And then on this one, I used to color the beak after you stamp it, and then you fussy cut it out. I used dark pumpkin pie. And this one I already attached. You can see where I pre-cut it out and everything. So I used the dark and the light Real Red blends. So pretty. So I think we ought to put something in this one. Let's go ahead and put some of these chocolates. I'm not real fond of dark chocolate, so we're going to actually put 2 dark chocolates on the bottom. And not that I would eat them anyway, because I'm trying to stay away from chocolates, but I don't really have a taste for them anymore, which is crazy awesome, but you know. Dark chocolate mint. So we've got 4 of those in there. We're going to close it up. And now we're going to add that gorgeous ribbon. And I'm pretty sure, hopefully I have enough, because it's 22 inches. Pardon me. All right. So let's tie this. Tie it together. And a nice little bow. I think I'm getting tired. Okay. Gonna tighten it. So there we have it. But I think I need to trim this one. So 22 inches works. You might want 23 inches so you have a little bit more ribbon to work with. Just want to trim that tiny bit right there. So this is ready to give away to the post lady. She's so sweet. And it's going to, so that's a different piece than this one, but that's okay. You get the idea. All these pieces, you can cut them and make a bunch of different little boxes and stuff. You could also use some really fun bling and then add this as an accent behind it with our add-on. And then, you know, the fussy cut. So when you run out of the pieces, you've got the stamp set that you can add and bring in other designer paper that you have. So there's a lot of possibilities with this one. Let's just make sure I have enough of these dimensionals. Just like that. Ta-da! Oh my goodness. This has been a fun, busy couple of weeks coming up with all of these fun projects. Alternatives, thinking outside the box, quite literally. I'll take, like I always do, I'll take a picture of all this fun mess, and it is indeed a fun mess. But here's all the fun projects that we made. We made the cute little bags, right? And we made this. We've made these little treat boxes that came with the mini catalog. And then we made these fun alternatives. And of course our fun shaker cards, a couple of those. And the 2 original cards, we made those, which are absolutely gorgeous. And then we made our envelope to bag. And we made our tent card. Isn't this fun? There's still one other thing that we made, and that was this fun ornament. Gorgeous, gorgeous ornament. Absolutely love the ornament. Lots of fun tonight. So many things to share with y'all. Like I said, my computer screen turned green, so I don't know what that means. So I will answer all the comments a little bit later. But and of course the still shots, I'll share all of those as well. But thank y'all so much for joining me. I know we went quite long, 2.5 hours. I don't know how I'm going to be able to upload this to YouTube. If I can, I will. I just don't know. But it's been fun creating all of these alternatives and projects with the Nest of Christmas October 2024 paper pumpkin kit. I literally came up with so many fun ideas that I wanted to share them all with you tonight. So we'll see you next week for some more stamping fun. Thank you for joining me, and happy stamping.